Hello everyone, in this video tutorial I will show you how to use the KeysBinder script, but before we need to install it. So you need to copy KeysBinder file and put it in special folder. Here it is the full path for Windows and for Mac to this folder. So it's program files, Adobe After Effects, the version of it, support files, scripts, and here it is scripts with panels, and put it here. Okay. After that, in After Effects you can find the script inside Windows menu. Here it is. Oops, it's a little big. So you can dock it if you like, but I keep it undocked. So let's start the tutorial. First of all, I highly recommend to back up somewhere your project before using this script, because it's hardly to reverse. So to use this script you just need to select several keys that you want to bind, click on button, and you will see that there is new layer with the slider. And now our animation controlled by these two keys. So as you see, we can control our animation by these two keys. So this way we can bind not only two keyframes but more, creating more groups. For example, here we have one animation, and here we have second animation, for example, such and such interesting animation. Okay, we want to bind these two keyframes. Okay, and this group. Okay, so we have two sliders. One control this animation, you can make it slower. Second, control this animation. You can also change the speed by dragging the keys. And if we put those keys here, it will not work, because we must follow the order. Those groups of keys goes before this one, so this slider must go before this one. Okay, if the order is right, it will work. If it is wrong, it will not work. So this way you can bind as many keys as you want, as many times as you want. For example, I create now several groups. Oops. Second group. Third. The final. Okay. So here our object appears. Either open the eye, close the eye, and disappear. So now we can easily control everything as we want. And if you don't want to use these control sliders anymore and start editing those keys, there is a simple way to do it. Is just click on the control layer and here it is the checkbox. If we turn it off, now all animation controlled by the original case. So as you see, if we turn it on, now it controls by these control sliders. And if you want to completely remove any effects, you need just first to delete every expression in binding in properties that you bind. So holding Alt and click on the watch here in every property. Okay, and after that you just delete the control layer. KeysBinder is not a perfect tool. It has several limitations that we need to know. So the first one is that you can't bind one key in a property. So as you see, it says that we need to select at least 2 keyframes in a property to run the script. So for example, we select 2 keys or more, 3 keys in that property, and select 1 key in this property, and we click on the button. So we see that it done, but here is the attention. Keys in one properties were skipped. Other keys were successfully binned. So it means that these keys are binned, but that key was skipped because you need to select 2 keys. For example, you select these 2 keys, this 1 key and this 1 key. If we select bottom, click on bottom, and we have here such an error that keys in 2 properties were skipped. So that it means that property and that property, and other property were successfully binned. It means that these keys were binned. Also, if we select one property in each, 1 key in each property, it says that we need to select 2 keys in a properties. Okay, I think you understand. The second limitation is that the control slider must have only 2 keyframes. You can't add another keyframe, or as you see it will not work, or keep only 1 keyframe, it also don't work. Only 2 keyframes. And these keyframes must also be from 0 to 100. As you see, I create second keyframe, but it has 0 value as the first one, and it don't work. But if we put 100 here, it will work. Okay, remember this. The control slider must have only 2 keyframes, and it must be from 0 to 100. It's very important. Also, you can either the control keys, work in graph editor with them, but do not add or remove the keys. Keep it only 2. Also, there is one important limitation that you need to know. You can't add or delete case in properties that you bind. because you will have a lot of bugs. So for example, here we have original animation, but if we add okay, here and here, you will see our and animation is changed. So do not add keys, and of course do not remove them. You will see here is your. So, but you can edit the values of this case. You can change them. As you see, it works fine. And you can move case as you want. So remember this, you can't add or delete a case in properties that you binned already. If you want to do a complex changes, you need to check this button off, check this checkbox off, and now everything controlled by this case, and you can edit as you like and do whatever you want. But remember, after you do such complex changes, don't check this checkbox on, because your binding will not work correctly. It's better to remove everything holding Alt, clicking on the watch, delete that, then bind this once again. And now it will work correctly. There is also another limitation. The layer where you want to bind case must stretch so on all composition. For example, we select those case, bind them, and if we change control slider, you see that there is no animation, because the layer cannot appear where it is not present. So to make it visible, we need to change the duration of the layer. But how can we do the layer invisible? For example, I want the layer appear when it starts the animation and disappear when it ends the animation, as it was before binding. Here the layer appears and the layer disappears. So how we can do this? Okay, first of all, stretch the layer on all composition. Then go to opacity and click here, make 1K, make second K, make it invisible, 0. The same way in the end, make the K, and in the second frame make it invisible. So, and one important thing, you need to right click on it and click on toggle hold keyframe here and here. In some cases it's important. So now we can bind it, and now it works as we want. So it appears here and disappears here. So the next limitation. You can't bind the same case twice. For example, I bind this case and now I want to bind them. And here it is the error, can't bind case because they was already used by the script. So you can't bind the same case twice. If I select, for example, those case, as you see, we can't do it. We can bind separately the end key and another case, it will be fine, and the first key and the second and other case before, and it will be fine. So as you see, we have here first slider, it controls this case, second it controls this group, and the third it controls that group. But we can't, now we can't group it together or group the case twice. We can bind that group also, and it will be fine. So if we select, for example, another case with already binded, you see that we have the script is done, but some cases were skipped. It means that this case were binded, but those cases were skipped. And you may ask me, what happens if I want to bind this and those cases? So let's see. Okay, and as you see, it actually binds all keyframes. So it happens because script reads the first selected key and the last selected key. Everything between those keys were bind automatically. So instead, for example, instead of, if I want to bind those 4 keys, I can bind these 2 and it will be the same as I bind those 4. And the last and most important limitation is that KeysBinder do not work with expressions. For example, here we have a wiggle expression, and if we bind case, first we see that there is no wiggle effect anymore, and instead of wiggle we have this strange KeysBinder expression here. Actually, you can use expressions with KeysBinder, but in most cases it will not work correctly, but in some, with some expression it will work. So I'll show you how you can do it. So let's undo all these things, and first you need to copy the property with expression. So if it is position, you need the copy of the position. If you need, if it is a color, you need a property with the color. If it's 3D position, you need a 3D position property. If it's mask or shape, you need the shape property. Okay, so how to copy it? For example, position. You can go to effects, and here point control. Okay, we have another property with two values. Select position control, Control C, and go to the first key and Control V. And now we have exactly the same property with same values. Okay, now we select the case in the main property that we want to bind, click on button, and as you see our wiggle disappear. But now we go to expression, and here we have this property. Okay, select this property, delete it, select this button and drag it into the new property. So to have the path of it here. And now, as you see, we have wiggle effect and it works fine. So what you need to know when you work with expressions and KeysBinder script. First thing is that you must make sure that your property is without expressions, because when you click on button, your expression will be deleted without any warning. It's very important. Second, not every expression works with this script. You need to test each expression before use it in final version, because in many cases with many expressions it will not work properly well or something. Even with this wiggle effect, as you see, we have here wiggle, but after this keyframe the wiggle stops. And the same thing with the start. It stops here, but as we see, it must wiggle. So you see these values, it wiggling, and here it also wiggling. But we have wiggles only in the middle between these two keys. So not every expression works with this script. You need to test them. So let's look deeper how the script actually works. I create one binding, move this case a little bit, go to graph editor and click on show post expression graph. So here we see two lines. One line here is the original animation and this with expression. So here we can see how our new expression created by KeysBinder script deformates animation. So the original key was here and now it's here. The same thing with the end key. It was here and now it's here. And if we change the position of these two keys and go back, as we see, the graph also changed. So now the K is here and here. Maybe you already noticed, but script works and change values not only between these two Ks, but has also influence from this K to that one. When you bind keys, the script actually take values also from the key before the first selected key, so I mean that key, and from the key after the last selected key, I mean that key. It means that the control slider will work only in this range, from this key to that one. So as you see, if we move this key before the key, before this key, you will see in graph editor that our values changed only from this point to that point, but have no any influence before this key. The same thing with the last key. If we move it after this key, it will take effect only in this range. So remember, the control slider will work from the key that goes before your first selected key. So here was the first selected key, and the slider will work to this key, and to the key that goes after your last selected key. So it was the last selected key, and the slider will work to that point. Okay, remember it. And what happens if I, for example, bind this case? Now this key is controlled by two different control sliders. Okay, what is happening in graph editor in this case? As you see, the value of the key is holding from this point to that. So from this point to that, it's holding. And also, if you notice, this group of keys now works from the beginning of the composition to this point. So if your key, if you select the first key or the last key of the composition and want to bind it, your slider will work to the end or to the start, or from the start of the composition. And the last thing I want to explain is renaming. So you are free to rename control sliders, but when you rename control line and after that you bind another control, another case, you will see that another control line appears with the slider controlling those keys. So keep it in mind. And if we do not rename it and click to bind, it will bind here. So for example, I want to rename it, and it creates new layer with new slider control. And when you have 2 or 3 or more control sliders, don't forget to refer refer all checkbox to one, because they will do not work separately. So that is all you need to know to use a KeysBinder script. I hope this video tutorial is not so boring and you understand my English. But if not, or you have any questions or advices how can I improve this script, or you find any bugs, you feel free to contact me through my profile page. Here it is the link to my page, and here where you can send me a message. Thank you and bye.